It's good to see you both. I really enjoyed the movie, and you're both
Thank
so
you.
excellent in it.
Thank you.
And one thing I loved was how through flashbacks we see how it was really Reagan's faith that served as a roadmap throughout his life. So, Dennis, I want to start with you as a person of faith. How has your faith guided you through the ups and downs of your life and your career?
Well, that's my faith is all there is. It's the it's the touchstone. It's the it's the principles by which we live, which we get away from sometimes or whatever, but are still always that are there to return to if you could find your way back to that as well. There are also the things that buoy you. For instance, Reagan, this is one of the things that reminded me of when I was playing Ronald Reagan. Reagan was both a Democrat and he was a Republican, but he lived his life and he was governed by principles,
Mhm.
which, if you have principles in your life, you're going to come up against a tough decision where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But if you make that decision based on those principles, in the long run, it's going to be the right one.
Mm.
And that's kind of like what my faith is to me, in a sense, because sometimes those things aren't so easy, or it's not even easy to know or easy to decide. But in the end, that's the best way,
Hmm. Absolutely.
if that
Well,
makes sense.
no, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Well, Penelope, Nancy was, fiercely protective, but also supportive of Ronald Reagan throughout his life. How did you prepare to capture her strength and devotion on screen? And was there an aspect of her personality that really resonated with you personally?
Um, well, she was a force to be reckoned with, no doubt. I think people thought she was a lot harder and tougher and maybe controlling than she was. She did have her vulnerabilities and insecurities, but she did have her strength. But what I found so beautiful in this movie and is the love story and her devotion to her man who she wholeheartedly believed in. But not only that, but she believed in his purpose. And she felt that there was a greater purpose than being an actor. And all, so that didn't matter to her, even though they met as both actors. I think as he started to delve into the political arena and started to being taught, she knew she believed in his greatness. And I think helped infuse him with that kind of confidence and that belief in himself that he needed to catapult him to where he ended up in the White House for 8 years.
There wouldn't have been a President Reagan without Nancy.
Hmm.
I mean, she didn't help him decide policy,
No,
but she protected him.
she
She
protected.
also just his image uh, that he projected and the intimacy that they shared in private
They
moments.
adored each other. And
It's the epitome of what a great relationship
yeah,
can
should be.
that has God in it too, by the way, can do that brings out your best self.
I mean, he wrote her a love poem every day. She published a book called I Love You, Nancy, with all the letters and poems that he wrote her. I mean, it's such a beautiful thing to have a partner that really appreciates you and believes in you and that you can trust. And that's, I think, what made them this power couple. And it wasn't maybe what one thinks. And I think that's what's cool in the movie is you kind of see behind the curtain, so to speak. There's the public persona and then there's the private persona and to see that evolve and grow and become such a strong unit. And people can misperceive that. And I think there's a sense that, they say every great man, there's a woman or these women that are behind men are manipulative and controlling. And that's to me kind of misogynistic. I think like there's something kind of noble and beautiful about saying, hey, I'll take the back seat, but I will be your rock and I will support you. But you go out there and do those things because he needed her. And I think that's really noble.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dennis, what can we learn from the winsome yet courageous way that Reagan really dealt with people he disagreed with, especially right now in what's already a contentious election season? That's something that really stuck out to me about him throughout the film.
Well, he and the Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, they had a very good relationship. They were political enemies, I'd say, but back then we had, we had conservative conservative Democrats and liberal Republicans. But Reagan put it like this: if somebody does, disagrees with you, like on 30% of the issues, that doesn't make you a 30% enemy. It makes you a 70% friend.
Mm.
And that's where they came from, to have a dialogue coming out. And he and Tip O'Neill, they said, we'll go at it from 9 to 6, but after that, we're just a couple of Irishmen having a beer. And, which having a dialogue is really what it's about. And I think that's what we need to get back to in this country, actually. And we all seem to want to, and we're kind of like searching around for how to do that. It's been so long.
Yeah, there's so much divisiveness. It's like you can't have these conversations, and it's okay if you have a difference opinion. You can still, because I think in essence we all want the same thing. I think how we're going about it is just different. And if that's your belief, then okay, but we can differ and we can still get along.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much. I really enjoyed the movie and it was good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you, Leah.